And we're live. Happy Monday, everyone.
Hello, everyone. It's such a Monday, isn't it?
It is, and I know in Ohio it's a different problem, but here it's been raining all night.
Oh
I
my
love
goodness.
rain. I am one of the very few ones who love rain. If you put me in Portland, Oregon, I that's my heaven. And it's kind of weird. When I was telling my wife, I'm like, she's like, "You're weird. Nobody likes rain." I'm like, you know what I like rain is because I like rain because when I was growing up, I grew up in New Delhi, which is dry heat, back in
Mhm.
India. And every summer vacations we will go to some mountain area in India. We call them hill station. So there's touristy spots on the top of a hill. That's exactly what a hill station is. And there's always a mist there. There's always
Yeah,
that fog. There's always a little bit of crispness in the air. I think that's what I miss but that's what I remember when I see rain. So it puts me back in that environment. I don't think I like rain. I hate rain, but emotionally I go back to that environment. That's why probably I love rain.
that's so unique. And speaking of going back and speaking of India, you're going on a big trip.
Yes, I'm excitedly nervous.
Okay, tell
I'm
us more.
nervously excited. I think I should say that. That's probably a better way of saying that. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because we're taking 4 weeks out of my schedule and I'm unplugging completely. I've
And for
never
a
done it
lot of
before.
people, 4 weeks unplugged seems really daunting, and 4 weeks away from work seems
Yeah.
insurmountable.
And it is, it can be. It can be. I was thinking I would be more freaking out because I'm leaving my girls for 4 weeks. I think I'll be fine there because I've built enough bond with them that I know even if I talk to them for 5 minutes, it'll be perfectly fine. Right. So
Mhm.
I'm less worried about that. And given that my wife's coming back, I think the journey that I'm more nervous about right now is, of course, there's a business going on, right? So there's gonna things going to fall apart. Not because I am indispensable, it's because that's what business is, right? Every day is a different day. Something's going to happen, and something needs to be fixed. Right now, I have that role where if something gets broken, I fix it, and
Mhm.
that's a role I've been serving. Now, when I go away, I also want to empower the team to make sure that they can. I know you're jumping in as well to help us, give us some extra bandwidth in there as well. And thank you, Brooke, for doing that, where the team can rely on you a little bit. So I think it's a
Mhm.
lot of that is how it's all gonna. I'm pretty sure it's gonna play out well, right? I think it's just because no one is indispensable. Life has a way of figuring itself out, with or without you. So I'm very confident it'll all work out, and it'll probably work out for better. Because if I'm not messing it up, chances are somebody else has a better idea, and it'll get done better, right?
For
But
so many
still,
people, being away from work for 4 weeks doesn't even feel possible.
that's an interesting thing. I've been thinking about that, and I think really the credit goes back to, for those of you who may have read the book Think Big that I co-authored, or who have been listening to the podcast. Back in 2017, I got laid off, and that's I go back to that story because that was probably I was sleeping, putting my youngest one to sleep the other day, and we started talking, and she was saying that what's one thing you're glad you would hope to happen again and again and again. I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to get married again, or I want to have kids. And she's like, no, all of that is fine. But what's one thing outside of the family that you wish would happen again to you? And if weird enough, I went back to that laying off. That I'm like, that is a pivotal moment for me. No matter how painful it was, is because that was a time I really decided I will never let anyone decide the future, financial future for me and my family ever.
That's a very all in moment.
All in moment, I'm like, you know what? That was the moment. I can vividly remember the where I was sitting, how I woke up to it, how I got to it. Not the precursors to it, but that moment where there was an instant clarity that I just there's only one solution. That doesn't mean I can't work. That doesn't mean I won't work hard. But all that means is I want to design the life and fit the work into it rather
Mhm.
than working and hoping for life to happen. Right. So
Mhm.
we've designed our lives in such a way right now that, by controlling our expenses, by passive incomes, all that stuff, that if we don't work, our expenses are going to get paid. That was the
Right.
most important thing for us, right? And when I'm trying thinking about unplugging, that's the only way. And I've not taken any operational role so far. That's going to change when I come back. But so far, because I knew I needed the freedom to move around as I'm figuring things out, right? There's so many people have told me, why haven't you bought a franchise so far? I mean, because franchise in my head, and I could be limited in my belief, is the moment I buy a franchise, I'm stuck, right?
Right.
It's a shackles, and I'm trying to get away from the shackles that I've put 30 years ago in my legs that of corporate jobs, right? So I'm still recovering from that. But given the fact that we had clear definition of what life means to us, life meant to us was freedom of movement.
Mm-hmm.
We have architected our entire lives like that so far. I think as the kids grow
Hmm.
up a little bit, that freedom may change, right? Because they may not
Oh,
want to be,
girls will change everything.
they'll change everything. And they have opinions. There's more people involved in the decision than just me and my wife. So that may change a little bit. But right now, with the way we've designed it, is we could pack our bags and move anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. Nothing's going to get changed in our life because the businesses are structured that way that we can run from anywhere. Now, one thing that we haven't done so far is having a self managing company. That's a very interesting topic I want to bring up. Self managing company is a company that doesn't need you day to day
Mhm.
for day to day decisions, right? That's a self managing company. I think Dan Sullivan's from Strategic Coach, he coined that term or he made that term popular. So we haven't really put a whole lot of foundation into it. This is going to be a first foray into it to try to see whatever we have built. And I have full confidence in the team because most of the times I'm unavailable to the team anyways, and they figured it out. I think it's just me being me that I'm taking unnecessary responsibility that I don't need to take. But it's going to be fine. But we don't know. I've never tested it, so that's where the test is going to be. The key thing is going to be how to architect a company, how to structure the teams, how to define the processes and systems in a way that company can be managed without you. Now,
Mhm.
there's a difference between self-managing and self-multiplying company, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first step is can it manage without you? The second step is can it grow without you? And if you can hit these two pillars in my brain, in my perspective, you've basically created the ultimate freedom for yourself. You're getting a check that you put a lot of effort into putting together, with or without your involvement, you're getting that paycheck or getting that income or getting that dividend, whatever, how are you going to look at that money that's coming from the business, right? And the second important thing is you'll never have to sell that business, right? Most people, what they do is they'll grow the company. They're making $500,000 in a business, and I'm seeing this as I'm buying companies. I'm seeing this day in and day out. There's a cash flow of $500,000 coming in a business, and they're selling it for let's say $2 million, right?
Hmm.
And that $2 million, 10 to 20% is going to go to the brokers in the transaction cost. So out of that $2 million, you only got $1.6 million, right? And if you think
Hmm.
about it, now you have to figure out how to generate $500,000 from $1.6 million because you need that cash. I mean, the 1.5 is going to run out pretty
Correct.
quick, right?
Correct.
So now you have to refigure this thing out instead. And most people are in that position because they are the they are the sole earner of the business. Right? Without them, the business is not going to run. Part of that is ego. Part of that is control. Because multiple factors play into that, or just the
And
ignorance that
reliant. For a lot of people, reliance feels very good.
it does need it, right? And I feel needed. Your ego gets up again. So a lot of that is that they have to sell because without them, the company is not going to run, and their kids don't
Correct.
want to take over the company and all that stuff. Different reasons for different one, everyone. Excuse me. But if you were able to define a company or architect a company and structure it in a manner that it can run without you and grow without you, why would you ever sell a $500,000 cash flow, which is coming
And you
in
wouldn't
without
do it.
any work at all? Never do
You
it.
would not do it.
So I was talking to a friend of mine in Florida. I was telling him, I'm thinking of this structure right now. I'm really putting a lot of effort into figuring it out, how it works. He's like, it's impossible, Saket. I'm like, it's not impossible. Nothing is
Oh,
impossible.
nothing's too impossible.
I'll make it maybe hard. It's not simple, right? It may not be for everyone, but somebody has done it. So it's not impossible. That all that means is, are you ready for the challenge to make it happen? Because the first few years of my life are going to be hard. And that's why I was saying I'm switching role as soon as I come back from India, is going to become a role of an operator because I want to rejigger the whole company and make sure that we're setting ourselves up for a self-managing company first. And the next step
Correct.
from there is going to be self-growing company, self-multiplying company.
But that's going to take a lot of work, so you've got to get your soul ready.
Definitely, and that was the biggest reason we were. I was debating whether I should go to India and then close the transaction, or should I close the transaction and then go to India? I just
Mm-hmm.
realized that it's better for me to come back from India and then close the transaction, so that I'm in my head I'm pretty clean, right? I don't have that undue pressure. I just put in thousands of dollars, and I'm not. They're not churning, right?
Hmm.
So we need to make sure that the return of money is happening from day one. So what this time away will give me is that freedom of thought. Right? I have no constraints right now because there's no money attached. Right now I haven't bought it. Right? So there's no emotions, there's no financial repercussion of that decision. So I could let my thoughts go wild and journal them, kind of like, and come up with an idea where the growth is gonna happen in a way that I want to make it happen rather than just taking it. We may still change things, right? It's not like I know everything. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, just like everyone here. I will figure out things as we go as well. But that's the goal. That's what excites me. What makes me nervous is I've not gone to India in almost 15, 20 years now for an extended period of time
Hmm.
without having a family around me.
No, that's interesting. Dive into that.
So this time, I'm not seeing any family.
Okay.
I'm not seeing
And is
any
that a
family at
part of
all.
clearing your head and clearing your soul?
Part of that is that it's a purpose led trip. That there's a
Mhm.
purpose to this trip. It's not just for fun and travel. It's more of I just need time away from everything.
Mhm.
Right. That's what I'm looking forward to
Especially
it.
because we're living in a very, very noisy world right now. Incredibly noisy, more so than usual.
Incredibly, given the elections, and
Yeah.
for those of you in the U.S., Biden just announced his withdrawal. Who I think it's just a lot of turmoil happening right now,
There's
right?
a lot of turmoil everywhere in the nation right now.
Everywhere in the nation, and also in the globe, and globally, right?
Yeah.
It's not a world which lets you be calm if you don't know how
No,
to be calm.
no. And so you
But
got to go intentionally carve that out for yourself.
you
What are you
have
going to do while you're there? Tell us, because I'm
so
curious.
so this is for those of you who don't know. I'm going to a place in Coimbatore, which is southern India, where it's Ayurvedic hospital. So let me give a brief understanding of what Ayurveda is. Ayurveda is the ancient Indian medical science, which treats the causes, not the source of the disease, not the symptom of the disease. Like the modern medicine supposedly is, I have a sneeze, let me cure a sneeze, instead of curing what is causing the sneeze. Right? That's a root difference between the two modality. Now, is one better than the other? I don't think so. I think they're just used for different purposes.
Correct.
If
And they both have a different reason.
different reason. If there's an acute illness, somebody is fighting a cancer, right? Or they have an infection, maybe the modern medicine, maybe the faster way to heal you. And then you go towards the internal healing modality as well. And so that's where I'm. So my wife's there right now for her as her path to becoming an Ayurvedic teacher. She had to be part of the clinic and all that stuff. So she's doing that right now. And she's sending me pictures. She's waking up to peacocks.
No, that's my favorite animal. I'm so jealous.
Right. So they're waking up
They're
to
my spirit. They're my
peacocks.
spiritual brothers and
Oh, they
sisters.
are. Oh, it's
Yeah, they are.
beautiful. Beautiful, right? And they're sitting right in her patio. So it's not
Mhm.
like wherever her patio is. She's sitting right in front. There's whatever noises they are making is beautiful, right?
Mhm.
That's one aspect of it. And the other is that there is no distraction in terms of the internet and phone. You have limited time only if you want to. Now you can get additional internet time and the phone time, but they're only giving you 2 hours of free internet,
Mhm.
which essentially means they're discouraging you from connected to the entire world, right?
Mhm.
But they also realize that the world we live in, not everyone's going to be completely disconnected. So they're
Right,
giving you
and
the
that's
enough.
hard, especially if you have children or people that are
Correct.
dependent upon you.
And it may feel like a prison. So they also don't want to. They're catering to the Western population, so they have to make sure that these Westerners, and I consider myself as a Westerner now, that we can adapt to it. So
Right.
that's really the context of the entire setting. And what happens is when you go into in any Ayurvedic clinic or a hospital or a resort or whatever, however you define that, you get a set of cleansing protocols, and
Mm,
that involves massages, that involves specific herbal intake, different things.
right.
So part of that is going to be depending on whatever is happening with you physically,
Mhm.
which is also going to be related emotionally, but they're focusing on physical at that point. That whatever disease you think you have, it could be a thyroid imbalance, it could be IBS, it could be eczema, it could be anything, headaches.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what the disease, what your symptoms are. You tell them symptoms, they determine a protocol for you. So every day you are for about an hour, hour and a half, you get a protocol for you
Mhm.
that's designed for you specifically. There are almost 400 herbs, so they pick and choose what will work for you,
Right,
and
right.
then the entire day is yours after that. There's nothing else.
Wow.
There's really nothing else in terms of your treatment, your physical treatment,
Okay.
right? But you get up
What
at
are
5
some
in
of
the
the different
morning.
treatment modalities?
Same time.
The different treatment modalities?
So a
I'm
lot of it
curious.
is, so the whole concept is, and my wife probably can talk about this a lot more articulate than I can. But what I understand from my wife again is that our toxins, there's only two ways for the toxins to be released from our body. Three
Mhm.
ways. One is your sweat, the second is your breath, and the third is the excretion, your
Mhm.
poop, right?
Mhm.
For the lack of better words. So
Mhm.
these are the only three ways. Most people, and the toxins are stored in, so they're basically GI tract. A lot of
Correct.
them is GI tract or skin. Only two outputs, right? Because the mouth is related to the GI tract as well in terms of the whole canal, right?
Mhm.
So most people, they're all these channels are not open, right? They're
Mhm.
constipated,
They're
their
blocked.
gut bacteria is not right, they've never sweated because they don't work out or they don't do anything like me, or they don't know how
Oh,
to breathe,
no.
or they don't know how to breathe. We have shallow breathing, right?
Yeah.
We're not deeping breathe. We're not breathing deep. So that's why a lot of toxins are stuck in our entire body. So the entire process
Mhm.
of massages and specific herbal medicinal oil is it pushes the toxins into your stomach,
Mhm.
right? And then
So that they
depending
can be
upon
released.
what was that,
So that they can be released.
so they can be
Absolutely.
released now because from there's no way your fat cells, which is where the most of the toxins are stored, are going to release toxin by itself because there's no
Mhm.
other way to expel the toxins. So through these oil massages, they bring everything back to stomach, and then they are expelling it from the stomach through enemas, through induced
Mhm.
vomiting, and all that stuff, right? So
Mhm.
that's what happens. And for, of course, they have a whole sweat procedure for some people where
Mhm.
they think that the toxins for them can be released through sweat. So that's
Mhm.
really what's happening at the modality level, right?
Yeah.
So where the toxins are getting in. That's just part one, though.
Mhm.
And there's a whole your mind, body, and energy have to be aligned, right? So
Mhm.
body is they're helping you forcefully. You don't have to do any work; they're doing the work. But your mind and emotions, you have to start working on that. So
Mhm.
what they do is they have daily discourses where they're talking about the philosophy of life, how to live a better life, and all that stuff. And again, all of that is very Indian centric, but it applies everywhere, right? So for
Right.
those of you who are ever thinking about it, it's not they're not teaching you religion that this is what you should do as a Hindu. This is what you should do as a human being
Mhm.
and why you should do it. the whole philosophy around it. So that's for your mind, and that's for your energy. Is and the energy emotions is once you block out the noise from the outside, you have the time to process your emotions,
Yes,
right?
you do.
So you're ready to handle external emotions, external bombardment. Right now, you're not healed internally. You are a mess internally, including myself. The reason why we're getting angry, irritated, and all that stuff is not because of an external world, is because we are not happy. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
having an argument with my wife the other day. I actually sent her a note. I'm like, you know what? Don't listen to what I just said because you just triggered something inside of me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
your fault.
Right.
You're showing me a mirror that I'm not ready to see, but it's not mirror's fault. It's my fault. I have something that I need to work through. So just thank you for showing me my weak spots, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
only way I can fix them is by knowing them. I still have them. So that's what this place is going to do is they're not going to show you a mirror. They're more gentler than that, but they're going to let you process your own emotions.
Yeah.
And I believe, and we've done that before, where we didn't speak for 10 days in an ashram setting. We didn't see anything. We had blindfolds. We could only see 6 feet ahead of us. Not completely blind, but we can only
Okay,
see
I
six
was
feet
gonna
ahead of
say
us.
now completely blind is a little. Well, that'd
Yeah,
be
that would be
scary.
hard. And
Yeah, that'd be
then
scary.
you can't utter a single word,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't even write a piece of paper.
Wow.
And the food is given to you at a certain time. You're basically following certain things where you're going to live because you're going to be
That
fed.
lack of control is so hard for a Westerner because we do live
100%.
under the illusion that we have control.
Correct. And I'll tell you that going back to that time in the ashram setting, having when the choices were taken away, it was freedom,
Mm.
ultimate freedom. And it's kind of so crazy. A friend of mine spent some time in the prison, and I was talking to him as well. I'm like, just what was your experience? He's like, as weird as it may sound, of course, I regret going there, but as weird as it may sound, I had no choice. I
I know.
actually felt free, Saket, because I had no choice of when to get up, what to do. I can't challenge anything. So I really stopped thinking. I surrendered to the process.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I could survive. And I think that's the closest to spirituality that I've heard somebody describe it is that you just surrender. That's what surrender means, right?
Yeah.
To completely surrender, you have no choice of your own, either by choice or by force. Doesn't matter. In his case, it was by force. The setting I'm going to is my choice, not to have choice, right? But I still have choice. So if I want to defy them, they're not going to say we're going to kick you out. They're going to say your loss, right? I mean, they're not going to say those words, but it's my loss. I'm going there for 1 month. I need to maximize it. So you start your day with a meditation. You have your breakfast tea and whatever, not the tea that we think, not the caffeinated tea, more healing tea. Then you do your protocol. Then you have your breakfast, and then you are basically alone with your thoughts and yourself. So I'm taking a 700-page journal. I think I'm going to journal the hell out of it. That's what my
You're
goal
gonna
is.
love it. And I think you said you're going to share these thoughts with us, aren't
My
you?
goal, I don't know if that's going to
His
happen. I have no idea.
intention. Now we all know intention shift and change.
Correct. So my intention is that I want to do a daily journal, but I hate creating content. That's why Brooke and I are together. You'll never see
Mhm.
me alone on a video usually. It's because I hate talking to myself. So the goal is to capture day by day, like maybe a 5 second video, maybe a 10-minute video. Who knows what's going to happen? Is to give you a glimpse of what's going through me. And the reason for that is not to capture my journey, is that some of you may be scared, maybe excited, or some of you may be just like, this is a crazy socket. But maybe my journey will inspire some of you to embark on something like this. Now, you may not take 4 weeks out. It's okay. You may be able to take a week out. You don't have to go to India for these treatments. They're available in US as
Right.
well. I'm going to India because I would not be disconnected anyways. That's one. Second, it's a little bit more affordable going to
Right.
India. So those are multiple reasons why I'm going there. But the same modalities that are available here, they're a little bit more expensive, right?
Mhm.
So it's not like that's the only setting you have to go to. But at least you get intrigued and I'm hoping something inside of me will change.
I'm
That's my
sure it
sincere
will.
hope, and I think it will. But
I'm
I want
sure.
to document that. I want you guys to be part of the journey so that somebody else can benefit from it. That's the whole goal. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So it's not a promise, it's an intention.
Yeah.
I am taking a handy camera with me, and I'm taking a lapel pin mic with me. So I have the technology with me. It's just that I may not feel like doing it. Is
Right.
because that is also an extra amount of work that I may choose not to do.
Mhm.
But I'm definitely writing the journals, and maybe we'll at some point create something so that you can have access to it. But I'm definitely going to be writing. That's for sure. But if I can create some videos and show you the place, show you my journey, um, I think I would love to have you guys join me as a observer
Yeah.
rather than
A
participant.
behind the scenes, if you will.
Yeah, in the scenes, right? Yeah, and after the fact, um, it'll be. I think it'll be an interesting thing to do. I
I
I
think it'll
I,
be
I know
interesting.
what the
And I
journey
think
looks
that,
like because of. I'm sorry, Brooke. I was speaking
oh,
over
no,
you.
you're good. I think it'll be interesting to see how you've changed and the sort of fresh ideas and perspectives that you're going to be able to bring when you come back, right? Because when you have that
Yeah.
abundance of time to think, you're going to be thinking not only about yourself, but about the world, humanity, the problems that your audience faces at large. And I think you're going to come back with so much refreshment and renewment.
Yes, I was kind of interesting you say that because I was at Business Mastery with
Yeah.
Tony Robbins several years ago now. Loved that, loved his energy. He said that every year he goes to his island in Fiji, his
Yeah.
own island, of course, and he locks himself for a week. He doesn't come out, and all he has is his notepad and pen. That's it, nothing else. No books, no tapes, no internet. I'm like, this is
Oh,
probably
no.
closest to now. I don't know. I mean, I can't compare myself to Tony Robbins, the likes of Tony Robbins, but I'm sure there's going to be elements of that that's going
That
to
makes
come out.
me really glad I can sing. I can always make my own music, guys.
That's true. I mean, you have a beautiful voice.
I can
Um,
always sing, I can always dance, so at least I always have some skills to entertain myself.
yeah, I don't have those entertainment skills. Excuse me. I can be funny, but not to myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I think to answer your question, I think that's the part of the journey.
Mhm.
What excites me is the potential change that I'm looking forward to. Like my wife, I was watching her the other day on the video. I'm like, you look 10 years younger. And she's talking to her friend. They're like, there's a different glow in your face. And nothing really has changed, right? Except her taking time for herself and going away. So what
Yeah.
I'm doing right now is to measure it. I'm baselining all my medical blood tests today as we
Mhm.
go. Before I go there, I'm doing that. And when I
Okay.
come back after a few months, because they say that even when you go there, it takes about 2 to 3 months for your body to recoup all the benefits from it.
It does.
So I'm going to do another test on in 6 months to just
Okay.
compare myself, how I was when I went, and how did I become after I came out.
Oh.
So I'm doing that. I'm hoping that some of you guys can do similar things in your life and just taking time away. Again, you don't have to take 4 weeks off. You don't.
No, it can be a weekend.
It can be a weekend. It could be an evening, right? It doesn't have to. But that's the me time.
Yeah.
It's completely me. It's not your family. It's not your kids. It's not your wife's. It's not your spouse. If you're no husband, doesn't matter who you have in life. It's not for them.
Mhm.
It's just for you. So one thing I would recommend is I've starting to implement this. Create more free days in your life.
Mhm.
Right? What does a free day mean? If you think about it, a free day means that that's your day. You spend that time the way you choose to spend your time. If it's going to be with
Could be any
family,
way.
it could be anything, anywhere, doing anything. No judgments and no guilt. You have earned, but you have structured in a way that if you're going to take a Friday off, your work gets done because you have made sure whatever needs to be done on Friday is taken care of already. So don't have to think about it. You've already planned with your family so that you don't feel guilty. Again, whatever you do, you have structured your week, the entire week around that free day, right? Just a different freedom that you get because there's no guilt. And
Yeah.
most of us, when we're spending time with our kids, we're worrying about work, and when we're working, we're worrying about our kids,
Yeah,
or
that's very true.
and we're doing either one of them, we're worrying about our health.
Mhm.
So when do you take care of each thing? But if you're saying that, hey, you know what, I'm going to take Friday off. So I don't work on the weekends now. I'm done. So
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays are my free days. Unless there's something drastic that's happening in our lives, professional lives that I have to jump in. I don't take any calls. I don't do any work on Saturdays and Sundays. So I would say recommend you, if you can't do this extreme what I'm doing,
Mhm.
at least figure out a free hour, a
Yeah,
free week,
absolutely.
a free day, a free evening, a free afternoon, whatever your free means to you. Figure that out what that is. But another recommendation I would give, plan your free day
Yeah.
before the free day happens. What you don't want is Friday is my free day. You get up at 8 in the morning. What do I do with myself now?
Unless you're a free spirit and then you love unplanned free days.
You may
Because I'm
you
a
may
free
want to do
spirit.
that too. You may do that, but most people, I think they're
So
gonna
I'm
go on
speaking to my free
Google.
spirit here. It's so fun to just not know what you're going to do.
I love that because I don't think I am that way. I need to at least know a directional sense of what I'm doing. I don't
Okay.
have to be a plan. I'm not a type A, but I need to know directional plan because I know what's going to happen if I don't have a plan for my free day. I'm going to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, or 10 or 11, whatever I get up, and I'm going to go on Yahoo or Google, and somewhere it's like things to do in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Okay.
and I'm going to get lost in the internet at that point. It's going to suck me in, right?
That's hilarious.
It's just going to happen because that's who I am. So knowing that who I am, I want to plan on Thursday or at least somewhere before Friday. This is what I want to how this is how I want to spend my free day.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go to the game of golf. I'm gonna see a movie. Which movie? Do I have the tickets? Everything is just planned, so I don't have so free day is actually fun. Right? And
Mhm.
someone like you may say, I don't need any plan.
No, I don't even need a plan.
Right? I'll take as the day comes, and that's okay too. That whatever free day works for you.
And it's whatever gives you the greatest sense of fulfillment and the greatest sense of freedom.
Correct. I think we were going to start this conversation very differently. How do you deal with Monday blues? Right?
Yeah.
I think that's how you deal with it because you're looking forward to a free day. Right?
Hmm.
You're gonna get excited on Monday because you're gonna do something on Monday that's gonna give you freedom on Friday.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
And sometimes that's just the way the week goes, right? If that's all the more positive you can be that week, that's okay. Because we're
Correct.
not the same equilibrium every week. We're just really not.
No, we're not. And I think that I know people I think Dan Sullivan actually takes 220 days out from a month, from a year. He doesn't work for 220 days. No
Hmm.
work. Zero.
Yeah. And I don't
That
blame
is a
him.
guy. That is a guy who's created a self-managing company and a
Yeah.
self-growing company, right?
Hmm.
So it's possible. Like for my friend from Florida, it may be impossible, but it's possible.
It's all
It may
possible, but it takes time
it takes
and
time. It takes time.
intentionality like anything else.
Definitely, definitely. So what I would say is I want to leave you with this video with one thing. Do you guys have any thought-provoking questions? If for those of you who are listening in and they journal, I want to ask you questions. I'll leave you with a question as an ask from me. Send me some thought-provoking questions that I can play with while I'm away for 4 weeks. Right?
Hmm.
Any any questions that you think if you had time to think about and to ponder over, and not a question about who should I marry. That's not the question I'm talking about.
We're talking
I'm not talking about
philosophical
surfing.
questions,
I'm talking
bigger
deep,
questions.
bigger questions. What should I do with my life? Right? Why am I angry all the time, or why am I unhappy? Or what does parenting mean to me? What does being a husband or a wife mean to me? More the life questions where most people don't have the time to think, but at the back of your mind, you're like, if I ever thought about it, these are the questions I was think about. So I would
Exactly.
love for you to send me those questions. You can send it to me personally. You can tag us on this video. We're thinking of converting this episode to a podcast as well. So if for podcast listeners, if you're listening to it, send us a response. I want to hear your questions. I want to go. As I tell you, I need my free day to be planned. So I want to plan my journaling so I'm not sitting idle thinking about what should I think about, right? I'm probably it's going to happen. What do I really want to think about? Right? It's going to change. But if I have a
See,
list of,
that's funny. I always have something to think about.
I'm glad you do, Brooke. I don't. I can't. I'm going to just stare at the wall.
I think that's a
Uh,
difference between men and women.
possible. I've
Yeah,
never
some of
thought
my
about
best
that.
friends are men, and they report the same issue.
They probably are. We just do. We don't think. Or I shouldn't say we, I should generalize it. But
Yeah.
for the audience, I think, look, again, take time out of your life for yourself. It's important. It's
Mhm.
very, very, very important. I'm realizing it because I'm the single parent right now in our household. That how important your self healing journey is, right?
Mhm.
I'm realizing it. I never paid attention to it, but I'm realizing it. So take some time away, take some time off. It doesn't have to be 4 weeks. It doesn't have to be a quarter. It doesn't have to be a year. It could be an hour. It could be a half an hour. Start there and then see how that changes you. If it changes you, start to increase it. If it doesn't change you, decrease it. Who cares, right? It's your free time anyways, whatever you want to do with it. But do
Yeah.
that. I have a very strong hypothesis is you're going to love it so much you're going to crave for more, right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong in that. But that I would say, Brooke, any parting comments from your side?
I think you are the only you get. So love you. You
Love
are the
that.
all you don't even get another you. So love
You
you
don't
so
get the other
much.
you. Yeah, you don't get the other you.
Mhm.
And how can you love somebody else if you don't love yourself? You can't.
You just can't. You just can't. So it's so important just to take that time to make yourself feel loved, whatever it is. And it's all very different for different people. But take the time to make yourself not only give yourself free time, but how do you feel loved during that free time? Because I think that's the next level.
True. True.
I
True.
know. It's a good one.
I'm gonna capture that. I'm gonna write that down
You're
right
gonna
after this
write that one.
conversation. I'm gonna think about it.
Write
I don't know
your
the
self
answer.
love journey to yourself. And hey, while you're at it, write your relationship with money. Life changing stuff.
That I agree. Right. You
It's
have
so
to, and
good.
that's probably maybe that's what we'll do the next Monday is relationship with the money. And
Oh,
what
relationship
does
with
that
money.
really mean?
Crucial.
Right? Because why is somebody happy with $2 and somebody not happy with $1 billion?
I know.
Right? Because
Yeah, and why
there
do the
are we
goalposts
see,
always get moved as you grow?
yeah, why in a relationship one person is spending $1,000 on a pair of jeans, the other person is mowing the lawn for $20 to save $20.
I
We've
know.
all
It
seen
makes a
those
big difference.
relationships. We have seen them. We've seen people around us. But why do they behave differently? I think it's going to be an interesting topic. I think I've really thought a lot on that.
Okay, I
Um,
actually had a really, really big experience with that, so I'm excited to share it.
Perfect. Let's do that, and let's leave the people with that on Monday. Thank you again, Brooke, and thank you again, listeners. Um, have a healing week. It's
Yes.
important.
Bye, guys. Love
Bye.
you. You're so important.